All righty. What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic. Welcome to the Take It Home podcast open panel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Uh, didn't start on time today. Tried to start at 5:30, but my daughter, she don't like to be upstairs with the brothers while she's watching TV. She want to be around me and stuff. My dog, as you can hear, is going crazy. I had to bring her in the house because when the neighbors are outside, she likes to bark and stuff like that. And I try to have a clear broadcast with you guys. So, without further ado, let me do the promotions on the promotion side, as I usually do. Where you can find me now is on May 28th. I'm going returning to Appleton, Wisconsin for a uh, a May to remember. It's going to be a very awesome show. Uh, very great wrestlers, very great family friendly content. Proud to be a part of the company as well. That's in Appleton. We will be heading out. Like I said, I've had fun with them the whole time since I started with them. Good people, good family, all of that, the whole nine and everything like that. I'm sorry, I was trying to get everything together, and what had happened was I fell asleep, right? And I took a power nap. And if I would have stayed a little bit longer in that power nap, I would have been with Uncle Charles. But yeah, I'm trying to get another picture up from somebody else for Kevin Young for his things. I was like I said, I that nap was amazing. I'm not gonna lie, and I do apologize for that because I am usually more lenient with that, but man, I just fell asleep. But I'm going to try to figure it out how I'm going to put his information up as well. But going back to the promotions and everything like that, I have June 18th. It's Kingdom Come, as you hear my daughter in the back. Going to be a great show. Uh, I'm so sorry, I'm unorganized, but it's open panel. June 18th, Gene Shepherd Community Center, Hammond, Indiana. Tickets are for $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Like I said, here's the lineup for the show. Very good lineup. I hope you guys are having a, like I said, a good afternoon. As I should have everything put together, but man, dealing with so much stuff, I'm just happy to be here with you guys instead of doing a 12 o'clock live. You have Aaron Stone versus Aaron Stone versus Jackson P. Larkin for C3 Open Culture Championship. You have Mystery Team versus Legit for the tag team titles. You have Cassidy Keith versus myself in one-on-one action. You have Marcelo Spade versus Mike Valentine one-on-one action. You have a triple threat women's match: KO Kendra versus Renee Van Peebles versus Vega Venom. The main event is Miles Mercer versus Just Amazing for the C3 Ultimate Wrestling Championship. The show is hosted by Kevin Young Sr., aka CEO of Yellow Pill Coffee Company, as I am trying to show you guys his promo information. Matter of fact, yeah, give me a second. I'm going. Let me take care of this right now. This is what, if you see this logo on Facebook or YouTube, this is him. So I'm going to show it to you guys to make sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Yes, sir. What's going on, Matt? Like I said, uh, yeah, I started a little late trying to make sure everything is okay. Like I said, I do apologize. Like that power nap, man. When you're old or you're getting old, and that nap hits you, and then you wake up and you don't know what happened. All right, here you go. I got it. Okay. I don't know if it's showing. Oh, I had it. Oh, darn it, I had it. Let's see at the screen. All right. All right. Yellow Pill Coffee Company. I didn't download it on my phone, but yeah, like I said, his stuff on YouTube is great. He will be the host. He will also be usually at around 10 o'clock. He has a lot of discussions about men and women and relationships and discussions and stuff. He also has a lot of open panels. He does great work. You know, he's not like one of these people that is us versus them thing, but what he does do is he brings information and awareness coming from being a man of color and also being a father and being a fan of wrestling and being in a whole bunch of things. He lets people talk. He doesn't cut them off. It's not a rude thing. He has very informational stuff. And I really do think that this man has a lot of stuff to offer and to bring to the table, especially with men's awareness and things that a lot of us go through. So if you can do me a solid, if you can find Yellow Pill Coffee Company, give him a subscription, listen to his stuff, and then you can also, he has open panels a lot. I don't think he ever denies anybody. He talks for 2 hours, sometimes 6 hours and things like that. Like I said, he's a wonderful person, and I'm glad he's going to be a part of the show. Now, going back into it. Today is open panel. Open. What is on everybody's mind? What is something that you guys want to talk about? Actually, there's two things I want to say before I invite people to the chat. Damian Tyler, shout out to him. I posted yesterday that I was going to do an open panel, and I said if you have any questions, just send it to me. So this is what he said, and I told him I was going to speak on that. Shout out to Tyler. Okay, his first question was, why is wrestling in Chicago so stagnant? So I wanted to speak on that one first. I personally don't believe that it is stagnant. I think that a lot of companies out here, they don't risk. They don't take a lot of risk when it comes to wrestling. I think what people need to realize is that it's a business as well, and people want to make money out of that business. So sometimes they don't have that risk. And sometimes you see the same guys get booked, and you also see the same matches between two people because people want to make money at the end of the day. Some people don't want to risk having new people come on the show or a new main event and things like that because they don't want to build new stars, or sometimes they don't want to build homegrown talent and stuff like that. And me being in the Midwest and doing business in the Midwest and booking a lot of people from the Midwest, I see like a lot of matches that are the same. And some people are so great and they're so talented that they can have a match. They can have 10 different matches with the same person. You can have those matches 10 days in a row. But then sometimes people sit back and they also recycle things that come from the previous matches that they have. So it's, like I said, it's not stagnant. I think it's growing. But I do think that like if you make it, like go to big shows and make it be very popular, like the women's wrestling out here, I just think that, shout out to them. They get more opportunities and more shots. And instead of people actually risking and trying to build people, that's what it is. And I feel like you could say that the progress is slow, but we do have a lot of companies out here. But it's the company's decision on if they want to book new talent and try anything new. Me, John, Justin, shout out to them. Other companies that I have been to, they have risk and they have built other guys and they have used guys that are established, but it's all about how you do it. And I do feel like some people, like I said, do not like taking that risk because they want to make money at the end of the day. Now, I know that a lot of people, they're very critical on WWE, on what they bringing in old guys, or they're critical on AEW, rehashing storylines and certain things like that. But at the end of the day, they are all business and they also want to make money at the end of the day. You know, if this person can make you $1 million compared to the person that's gonna make you 5,000, and you if you have a guy that can make you $1 million, and then you have a guy that could potentially make you $1 million themselves, most people are gonna go with what they know. So that's what I'll say. I think the Midwest scene is very good. You know, you guys know me. When I book a lot of people, majority of it is I'm just trying to show the people who don't know that the Midwest have a lot to say. And you do have a lot of companies that book people that are from outside companies and everything and cities and stuff. And shout out to them and stuff like that. But I always felt like the Midwest has something to say, especially me being in this business for a little over 10 years. And it's just like, okay, well, let's show these people that what we can do. And I do think that my company and a lot of other companies have some of the best wrestlers because of the heart and passion that they have and the drive. His second question was do's and don'ts on starting a Fed. I'm not going to be here long. I'm not going to speak long on that one because I kind of covered like what we're supposed to do in a previous live. But if you do start a Fed, make sure you're professional at all times. Do not be unprofessional. And you're going to have people that may poke fun at you or talk bad about your company or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that you have to retaliate, you know. Or maybe they trolled and say that they didn't have fun. You know, you can apologize or you can say something or you can ignore it. You know, I think the thing with social media is social media makes people think that they're Superman. And they can say and they can do anything. And with companies and stuff like that, you do have to be careful with that because even if they are pulling your leg, that is a problem. As my dog wants to bark. You better stop. Anyway, I do think that a lot of people can ruin their company by sitting there and doing tit for tat with people. You know, there's one thing with defending your company, and then it's another with trying to hurt somebody or trying to get at somebody or trying to embarrass somebody. You got to watch that, especially with this new media wave of screenshots and stuff like that. Like somebody can literally take what you said and then just take that and share that. And then people will be like, oh my goodness, your company is just horrible and stuff like that. You know, that's why some people, regardless of how you feel about Big Swole or Tony Khan, a lot of people didn't like what Tony said to Big Swole, even though it was more of a retaliation thing and whatnot. You know, you just got to be careful with that. Also, treat your wrestlers like people. You know, we're not gods. We're not the dads of these people. We're not even their boss. It's all about agreements. Well, you kind of are for the time being. So treat people with respect. That's a do. A don't is don't pay people. Don't pay people, if that makes sense, which is very funny to me that this even has to happen. You know, make sure you're very clear on what people do and want to do. Don't jip people, and that's it. That's gonna be it. Like I think I covered a lot of the other situations as I'm about to drop the link to the chat. But yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Like I said, this is a open panel. So I just sent the link. I'm gonna send it to my Facebook as well, because for some reason it does not show up on Facebook. So if you do click the link, it will you can click and then you sign in as the guest, and then we can talk about some stuff. Let me see. Here we go. I just sent the link to Facebook. All right, we are on the money. Shout out to everybody that's passing and looking and stuff like that. Like I said, this is a open panel on wrestling. We want to talk about topics. If you want to come in, click the link. I'll bring you on the show. We'll talk about some certain things. I don't have any material really that I wanted to cover, and the ones I did want to cover, I didn't really have enough time to get it. Like I said, that power nap almost took me out. So I did want to do an open panel live. I know a lot of guys, they have been ready for me to do open panel. So I was like, okay, well, I'm off today, and why not have an open panel? Let's see if somebody wants to come on the channel or if anybody has any questions, and we'll just go off the rip from there. Man, I shouldn't have took that power nap. That was a good power nap. But I did want to go over one thing though, if I can find it. It was an article I read. It was about Jake the Snake, and I don't know why I cannot find it right now. But yeah, click the links if you want to speak on the panel, or if you have any questions, feel free to post the questions and we'll answer. Oh, I have somebody on live. It is adding him. Give me a second. Hello, my brother Matt. Can you hear me?
Sir, how are you doing?
Hold on, it's messing up.
Can you hear me?
On.
Okay.
I can kind of hear you. Hold on. Always with these lies. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Hold on.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Hold on.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Let me. I'm gonna do my mic. Hold on.
All right.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm gonna do my mic. Hold on. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I can hear you clear now. Okay.
Perfect. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Yes, I can. Man, living the life, you know. Trying to get everything going. Just got some new microphones for my stream and living the dream right now. Enjoying the day off.
Me too, man. Me too. How you been?
Man, running around like crazy, man. It's just been busy. Got the shoot job, the Fed, and everything else going. You know, it's getting ready to be full steam ahead again now that the weather's nice. So looking forward to it. Got a lot of things brewing.
Okay, what's your business, man? Show promote your stuff.
Oh, so I am the head trainer over at PRW Project Revolution Wrestling, Fed ran by Ivan Tooks. Got a lot of new talent there. Speaking to the point you made earlier, we kind of focus more on building our own talent than using other guys, but you know, we will bring people in every once in a while. That's just our style, but you can definitely check us out on YouTube at PRW. We got the shows going up there, so check it out. There's going to be some good stories coming up.
All right. About your YouTube channel, what you got going on YouTube, sir?
Oh, God. So we got No Collar Entertainment. Me and my wife like to play video games together. We stream it for friends and family right now, but if you want to jump on, subscribe. We play right now. We're doing the Resident Evil series, and we're debuting 2 new games tonight, so it should be a fun night of gaming.
Yep. Tune in. What's up? What's on your mind, my brother?
So I mean, I was just listening to you, and you know, I feel like so the question was like, why is wrestling stagnant in this area or something like that?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if it's stagnant, but I do believe that in the independent scene there is a stagnant mindset that's going around, and it kind of speaks to what you were speaking of. So right now we've got this big divide between WWE fans and AEW, right?
Yep.
And you know, in my opinion, it's like these are 2 completely different styles of pro wrestling. You have WWE, which is safer. It's more repetitive, but it draws on star power and it draws on things that they know you like.
Yeah.
And just repeating that and hitting that note over and over again. I mean, you go back, how many different people used Kurt Angle's music before it was Kurt Angle's music? True. They like to stick with things they know. Whereas AEW is a little more risk taking, and that's not always a good thing. There is some stuff I've seen on AEW where I'm like, what the hell were you guys thinking? And but then at the same time, you get innovative and creative stuff. For example, one of my new favorites to watch, Swerve, is just showing me all kinds of cool chaining spots and little transitions that you just don't see everywhere. And that's the kind of stuff I really like to see on AEW is the creativity, the originality.
Yeah.
And that's kind of speaking to the stagnant mindset of the independent scene. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, you can't make a new move. There's no such thing. Or you can't tell a new story. Or you can't be original anymore. You have to just pick and choose things you like and then do them in your own way. And it's like, well, that's kind of being original there. And I don't understand this mindset. And maybe you could speak to it. You've talked to a lot of people as well. Why there's a thought that there's no creativity anymore?
Okay. I will say this. I do think that it is a lack of creativity. Myself, not everybody. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My biggest thing with wrestling is even if something has been done, you have to make it your own. And if you can make it your own, people will always think that is new. I do think a lot of people who do a lot of the moves, there's no creativity in it. I'm just going to do it because I can do it or someone else is doing it. Now, Swerve, I have been looking at a lot of his stuff lately, and I do like him, and I do watch his content and things like that. Even when he was Kill Shot in Lucha Underground, rest in peace to that show. And you have a lot of wrestlers that I talked about earlier of how a lot of companies book the same wrestlers, but you do have a lot of wrestlers that do the same moves. But what can you do or what can you say that makes it different and makes it special? For example, everybody does a super kick. Not everybody, but a lot of people do a super kick, right? Right. So what? No, okay, cool. Now come with me. Follow me here.
I'm with you.
What does Miro, aka Rusev, what does he call his super kick?
Shit, I don't even remember.
It was at one point he called it the Mashka kick.
Yeah, okay.
It was more of a thrust super kick. It wasn't just a straight super kick, but
he did that hop with it.
Yeah, he made it his own, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people were looking at it when he did it and said, "Oh my God, another super kick," because he did one shuffle step into the kick, and then he called it for one point a machka kick. Excuse my language. So you can make it your own, even though other people do it. And I think Rusev was a good example because a super kick is something that everybody does. A lot of people do. I see a lot of people do curb stomps. I see a lot of people do those kind of moves. I see sling blades. But it's like, what can you do to make it your own, even though it's a move you've seen every day? If you can turn around and make it your own move, then you're doing something. I think a lot of people are like, I can do it, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You got to make it your own. So that's my take on some of the moves being done. Germans too. Oh my God. I've seen some good Germans and I've seen sloppy Germans and I've seen German suplexes. I'm doing it because everybody else is doing it and it doesn't work. It looks bad. So
and that's kind of my point, right? And that leads to a point that I also have. Like you mentioned, obviously the super kick. Everyone loves Shawn Michaels. That's kind of where it birthed, and then you just saw him all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the curb stomp. How old is the curb stomp? Really? I mean, in the grand scheme of things. So the same people that are saying there's no new moves, I mean, there's a move that came to popularity. Now, some people may have been using it before, but until it's a household name, it's not yours.
True.
And here's a move that really came to light just a few years ago, whenever Seth Rollins started, and now it's catching popularity. But he was creative enough to come up with something new that people hadn't seen before, and make it his own. And that just further proves the point that this is not we're recycling the power slam from the 80s as a finish because we can't do anything else. There's always new stuff coming around. That going back to Swerve, that kick he does, it's an enziguri, it's a modified enziguri, but I've never seen anything like that. The way he floats, the back kick, like it's one of the prettiest moves out there right now.
Yeah,
and what I don't think a lot of people understand, and there's a lot of, you got to be careful with this, but there's a lot of fans in independent wrestling right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, you know, and just like a lot of things, you get into something and you don't realize the work that isn't fun. Like now it's fun for some people, like my crazy ass who actually likes sitting up till 3 a.m. to come up with one thing.
Yeah.
But there's work that comes into this instead of, oh, I saw this on TV, I can do it too. Let me just do this in my match.
Yeah.
And that's fan stuff. I mean, you're just a fan at that point. You're not trying to be yourself. You're not trying to make anything of yourself. And that's fine. I mean, even Daniel Bryan said it in a seminar once, you know, if you're a weekend warrior and you're just doing this for fun and this is just a hobby for you, there's a place for you in this business. There is. It's just, you got to be honest with yourself. What are you really trying to do? Because if you're trying to get to the E or AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan or wherever it is, if you're trying to get to any of these, are you willing to do that extra work? Are you willing to do that extra step? And I feel like in the culture right now, there's a lot of, well, this is good enough. And it's not, because you're not there yet. So you have to keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a student go for the gut check challenge. And then I'm sorry, I'll let you jump in. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you good. You good.
I had one of my students go for the gut check challenge, and I sat him down and I'm like, so what do you think about doing that's going to make you different? He's like, well, I bought some new gear. I'm like, fuck the gear. They don't care about the gear. Look at New Japan. They throw all their new guys in black,
all black, right?
And say, get over.
All black.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So forget the gear. What you gotta realize, you are a white blonde wrestler. There are going to be, if there's 500 students, there's going to be 300 of you. So what is different about you?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of mindset that I feel like is missing from a lot of guys I talk to, and that's old and new alike.
Yeah. You got a lot of people that want to make it, like you said. You have a lot of people that probably did have new gear as well. And it's like, gear is a portal. It can help get you attention. But after that, if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're just doing what everybody else is doing with some nice gear at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying? You want to leave a great impression. And I remember in one of the previous lives, I was saying that I would do anything for wrestling promo. Is so outdated because everybody does it. And we're wrestlers. We've been there before. I've been counted out. I've been the underdog. People make fun of me for wrestling, ABCD. I've worked hard. All we missing is Lose Yourself by Eminem in the background, and we got it. if we just play that, like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
And everybody's went through that phase. And my thing is, with wrestling moves and stuff like that, so many people want to go viral, and so many people go viral with it. For example, Sammy Guevara, when he did that cutter to Cody off of the ladder, beautiful move. Stop it. No, it was nice. It was nice. But I knew that weekend, somebody was going to do something to try to make it look better or to go viral like it. And then lo and behold, it was two guys. One guy was on the turnbuckle. The other guy was like on like a stage somewhere, and there was a group of wrestlers waiting for the spot. They were fighting, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Looking around, fighting. So the guy acted like he was going to dive on the crowd, on the wrestler, and then the other wrestler caught him for a cutter to fall on these other wrestlers. Now, I give it an A for effort because you were trying to do something different. But the execution was bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing is, you got a lot of guys that don't think why. I mean, the most important question in our business, and this is just my opinion, my humble opinion, is why. Hey, we should do this. Why? What is the point? Why are we doing this? What is happening in the match to make this happen? Mm-hmm. And that question, if answered correctly, is what takes a good match to a great match. Yeah. It's what gets the audience to grasp. And now I want to go to Sammy Guevara because I want to say I love that spot. You're right.
Yeah.
That spot was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Cannot take that away. The timing was great. Everything was good. Let me talk about Sammy Guevara though. Because Sammy Guevara, what's going on right now with Sammy Guevara is kind of the perfect example of another thing that I see is wrong with the culture right now. And you know, I was never the guy to call it on the fly. You've worked with me before. You know how I used to work. I was very much. I like to map it out. I like to know exactly what I'm doing and make a match that way. And I found success that way. And that's why I truly believe both ways are completely viable. It just depends on what you're doing, who you're working, what's the match.
Yeah.
So this year I focused more on calling it in the ring just to expand myself a little bit. And, you know, it finally clicked with me. You know, what the old heads were telling me the whole time coming up was like, you know, the crowd tells you what to do. When they start clapping, they're telling you to do a falsie or they start, you know, their reactions will tell you how to move the match along.
Yeah.
So the problem I have with Sammy Guevara is wrestlers thinking they can control the crowd. There's a difference between, well, it's kind of rough to explain because you can control a crowd in the ring, but coming up with stories to control the crowd is never going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And you had this storyline where he's being this pompous ass with his new girlfriend, obviously getting ready to turn heel. But the problem was he's getting ready to turn heel against one of the most hated groups in the company. So the crowd wasn't buying it right away. And then they had a match where they did a double turn, or what was supposed to be a double turn, but the crowd hadn't started buying it yet. And because they hadn't bought it yet, you had a good 10 minutes of a match where the crowd's just silent.
Yeah.
Whereas, let's go back to one of the best double turns of all time, Bret Hart and Stone Cold. They had started cheering Stone Cold before that double turn, before that submission match where he got knocked out. They had started cheering for him. It was kind of a 50-50 split. That's when you take the reaction that you're getting from the previous shows, and that's when you decide, okay, it's time for this. It's time for that. And that is missing from the promoter side of everything. Like, if you're going to tell a story, sometimes the story doesn't play out the way you thought it was going to, simply because of the way the fans are grabbing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think...
Go
ahead. I think with Sammy, I think a lot of us, we're watching him grow. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference between independent and big time TV. And a lot of us, you know, we aren't where Sammy is and stuff like that. So he still has room to grow. You know, like when he was with Jericho, you know, obviously Jericho was the vet and everything like that. So Sammy didn't have to talk and stuff like that. So I get what you're saying, because sometimes it's like, okay, you're comfortable with what you are, but then it's not. You get what I'm saying? With the storyline and stuff like that, you are right. I do think that it did lose a little bit of steam because of how it came to be. I don't think the intentions was a double turn, but I don't think it wasn't. No, not at first. I think the crowd was upset that he, you know, is dating a woman that a lot of people want to be with. And no, I mean, hey, they had no other reason to boo Sammy. They love Sammy, and
they do. But let's not. I don't like to water under the bridge what he did a few years ago on that podcast about Sasha.
And look, and I'm with you. And no, for real. That was horrible. That was horrible. But people have been cheering him after that, though. The AEW crowd at least has you know, cheered for him. Other companies that booked him have cheered for him. So it is water under the bridge, and people decided to float across that. So I'm thinking that I don't think that they just started booing him out of nowhere because, oh, I forgot this is what he did. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think that's because of everything with the storyline. And it is kind of cheesy a little bit on what they do with their personal life. And I do think that AEW, just like WWE fans, sometimes get sick of certain things or they don't want to see certain things. But I for sure don't think the intentions was a double turn. And I think the thing was, okay, let's make everybody happy. You go out with Ty, okay, Ty can be in this feud with you, and then you guys can feud against Paige Van Zant, Sky, Dan Lambert, and everything like that. I think that it didn't work, and it didn't matter what matches they did afterwards, because like you said, Sammy, he gave Sky a low blow, and then it was like, what are you trying to do? And then he did do a promo saying, guys, I'm mad that my girl is hotter than what they have and stuff like that. And the crowd ate it up. So now it's time to pull the trigger. He should just consider him as a heel now.
And that's and you know, and that's why I was still on Sammy at first. And I can't deny the kid's work. The kid's work is phenomenal. He's one of the best in-ring athletes I think I've ever seen. I think that's what it kind of turned into, was when he did that. It was kind of, this is a dumb kid who didn't realize, you know, because this is what I tell my wrestlers all the time. Like, you got to be careful what you're putting on Facebook, social media, all that.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful, because it will be used against you.
Oh, yeah.
It will be used against you in a heartbeat as soon as someone doesn't like you for whatever reason. And if you're a heel, they just don't like you because of that.
Yeah.
Because if you're a good heel today, like today, you cannot be the classic heel, because that gets cheered. Like MJF gets booed, sure, but you kind of feel like a lot of people like him.
Yeah. You got to know how to, that's what differentiates wrestlers from workers, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. I hate you, but I'm going to buy your t-shirt.
Yeah.
Or I want an autograph from somebody, but I hate you. I just want you to know that. Like you said, bringing up MJF, there's compilations of him with kids going back and forth, getting autographs, taking pictures and stuff like that, because they know what they're getting themselves into. And sometimes people want to get a rise out of the heel. So he does do a great job. Now with let me say this real quick. Now with social media, a lot of these wrestlers, they're breaking kayfabe on purpose because they want people to like them. And that's the problem when you're a heel and you said something bad about somebody who, let's say, family member passed away. And then when people come to Twitter and they hate you, and then you drop a video saying, that's not me, that's my character I play on TV. You get what I'm saying? So it is a difference. It's a difference between being a wrestler and being a worker. Britt Baker, she got upset because a lot of people thought that the tax and stuff that they fell on were fake. And she took it upon herself to go online and show people her scars. Heels don't need to do that unless that's progressing something. But it didn't. You got upset because people were mad. They were critical on their mats and they were critical on the thumbtacks. You know, you got to know how to work it out, man.
No, and you know, I was the same way. I thought the thumbtacks were fake too, because they weren't like going in or whatever. They weren't getting the normal puncture that you would get.
Yeah.
But the way I saw it was like, oh well, I mean, safety's a thing nowadays with CTE and a bunch of other stuff. Safety's a thing.
Yeah.
So maybe there was an injury we don't know about, something like that. You know, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It got the reaction it needed. So, and honestly, that was the most entertaining match they've had in the women's division yet.
Yeah.
Because when you look at AEW, this so-called war that's going on, AEW cannot touch WWE's women's division. They can't.
You feel that way? You feel that way?
The women in AEW cannot hold a candle to the Sasha Bankses, the Becky Lynches, the Asukas, because there's that it factor. That was another point I was going to make, was guys don't understand that it factor. They think you go in the ring and you show a couple good moves and you're it. And you're not. If you look at Stone Cold, The Rock, Hogan, these guys who transcended that level, that basic, he's a good wrestler. William Regal was a good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love Regal, but if they put the world title on him tomorrow, I'd be like, that's a fucking mistake. The same thing with Hangman Page. And we had that long conversation once just between us about Christian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are guys that are very good in-ring talents.
Yeah.
But they're not that champion. They're not that guy.
Yeah. I hear you. I get what you're saying.
and that's one thing AEW is dropping the ball on, is that they just have to acknowledge they have some guys, and then they have good wrestlers.
Yeah, I get you. Hey, yo, Kev, can you hear me? I put Kev, put Kev on the chat. Hey, yo, Kev.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's good, man? Just came up, show you some love. I know y'all just having kind of an open discussion, but I like this. I like this guy over here, man. I tell people all the time, man, that WWE women's division is leaps and bounds above AEW's women's division, and it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe that's what still keeps AEW. I mean, that's what keeps AEW at number 2. Is that they're not really consistent, and then they don't put any effort into the women's division. Now, don't get me wrong, they got 1 or 2 good women, and I might be on the, in the minority and liking Jade Cargill. I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I like her. I like the upside. I like the presentation. And I like that she got the baddies with her now. You know what I'm saying?
The baddie section. Section.
I'm liking all of that. I'm liking all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm liking that energy. But then outside of her, and then Britt and her crew is just like all the other women is on dark. They champion ain't even. I mean, and it's like if Thunder Rosa anywhere else is cool, but Thunder Rosa and AEW confuses the fuck out of me. Like,
yeah, Mm-hmm. I think with that, and I was going to bring up Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa does a whole bunch of other things with like her own company with Mission Pro. She do a lot of things that empower women and stuff like that. So shout out to her. I shout out to her for that. But the thing is, it is a major league show. It's the number 2 in America, right? And it is like, you rarely see her because of the other things and other obligations that she has to do, And it was an emotional moment when she did finally beat Britt Baker in that cage match. And it was like, okay, after that, like you said, it does get repetitive, though. Think about it. The last few champions, Nyla Rose was like their first challenger. It's the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see Dark, you low-key can see who's going to be next in line to go against the women's champion because it's the same rehash thing. As soon as Thunder won, Nyla was the challenger. When I think Sheeta, and also for even Britt Baker, they put Nyla up against them as well. So it is repetitive. And I will say this about the women's division for AEW. They have a lot of talented women, but a lot of them do need to be molded. And I do think that many of them need a direction and a change. Maybe Chris Statlander is trying that with what she's doing now because she's not the alien now. Now she's the thug alien that wears blue. So I don't know. Hey, some need direction. I think putting Kira and Red Velvet in the baddie section with Jade, those are 2 wrestlers or whatever like that. That gives them something to do. They can win a couple times. That gives them a direction or whatever. Britt took time off. Now she's back. Now they're doing the Owen Hart tournament for the men and the women. So, yeah, it's all about what you do and how you do it. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, man, I don't have no complaints with the wrestling business. I can't, cause just the same. I don't know. It gets weird. It's a weird time. Like I don't see it. It is because it's like nobody's happy. Nobody's happy.
Oh my God.
That's right. That's right.
It's weird being a wrestling fan because I don't have any gripes towards anything right now. I'm just like, okay, cool. Right. Whatever company pop up, like as long as they doing something, they doing good. But it's like, oh no, you can't like these people, or you this person, and this person is a traitor, and all this. I'm like, yo, what are we doing, yo?
Like I ain't got nothing to do with me.
But that's the thing, and that's the beauty of wrestling dying. That's what that is right there.
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the Stone Cold Bret Hart double turn if fans can't think the way they want.
Mhm.
Like, because back then, if the same culture lived right now, back then, it would be a bunch of people going, "You like Stone Cold? How stupid! You're an idiot!" Blah blah blah. Not seeing this potential, this like everyone likes to shit on Omega. I mean, I am one of the biggest Omega fans you'll ever find, and I'm also with Kev on Jade. I think Jade can be that person. I do have to disagree with you guys. I think the baddie section was a mistake.
Oh!
I get the idea. I get what they're going for. But when was the last time we had a dominant powerhouse heel woman that just wrecked shop? And you didn't want her to wreck shop, but she just kept wrecking shop. There's a potential there, like China all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a potential there to really do something with that. And throwing the baddie section in with her, I mean, that just makes her another heel who has to cheat to win and has friends outside. It's Britt Baker. They just did it with Britt Baker. It's the same thing.
I get you. It's a little different, though. I will say this. It's a little different.
Okay.
Because Jade is undefeated, right? She was undefeated before the baddie section.
Yeah.
You know, we all know, and I love Jade too. Jade still needs some work.
Oh, yeah.
So having her wrestle every week, you're going to expose what else she needs to work on. What else? And she has been improving. She's been improving
every week.
You know what I'm saying? So what you do is you expose the positives and you hide the negatives. So now you have Red Velvet, and I think she needs work too. And you have Kiera Hogan, but they can wrestle on Dark, or they can wrestle on Dynamite and Rampage. They can do the 6-woman tag that they did. They can do this stuff, and people like it. They're getting a reaction. People are taking pictures with them. She was at Wale Mania at WrestleMania weekend with the belt. She
looking as fine as she can. I'm sorry.
No. But you get what I'm saying. A lot of people, and she could be one of those women, not even just wrestlers, that can get people who don't even watch wrestling like that to pay attention, because she has a look. She's beautiful. She's very athletic. She has a lot of things. Now you have a baddie section. Now girls want to be a part of the baddie section. Now let me, on her Instagram, she promotes it. Hey, Chicago, I'm coming to Chicago. I need some baddies for the baddie section. And women apply and they try to be part of the baddie section. So I get it. Heels and groups go together a lot, but at the same time, they're still working on Jade. They had to work on Britt too. Britt had to do some work too, because Britt came in as a face and it wasn't working like that. So eventually, people gave it time, and eventually Britt was the doctor, was DMD, you know, something that she do. Now, Jade being a baddie and having other baddies with her and having 2 other baddies that wrestle, it's going to work out. It's like you said, you just got to wait and see. But we see the potential, you know.
No, and I think part of the reason I didn't like the idea, because you made a lot of really good points, so I see where you're going with that. It could definitely be a money making opportunity for us.
Oh yeah.
But I think one of the biggest reasons I didn't like it is because Velvet is one of the ones that I would like if I was in dream control of a Fed like this with talent like this. Velvet's the one I would have beat Jade.
I think that's fantasy book, and I think that's what's gonna happen. Now that's a story as old as time too, but that's usually how it goes. It's almost like evolution. You know what I'm saying? How Randy eventually broke off and they fought him, and everybody thought Randy was gonna be the one to beat Triple H, but he didn't. It ended up being Batista. You know what I'm saying? So they use the successor usually comes from within. You know what I'm saying? That's a cool story told like that too. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like that story. Like
long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
I use it in quotes though, because everything is in long-time storytelling. I use it in quotes, but yeah, I get it.
Right. Now as long as they hit the sweet spot and actually let it ride out for a year. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. However you see fit. Like but to your point too, I kind of see it as a repetitive situation though, because I mean you got the same thing going on with Toxic Attraction in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's the same kind of dynamic, but I think one of them are going to be the ones that beat I can't think of her name.
Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose, yeah.
I don't know, I think it might be Roxanne, maybe, since they're targeting younger, they're trying to push the younger people. So I think it might be her, or maybe even Wendy Chu with the Great Value version of Orange Cassidy. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, so and I get all your points, and it is the safe route to go, but I mean, I just popped in my head, like, what if they would have done something like, you want to talk about long-term storytelling, what if they would have done something where Velvet wants to be the baddie section, she wants to be a part of it, and she keeps going out to help her, and she keeps helping her win, but Jade keeps getting pissed and keeps beating the shit out of her every time she does it, right? And you can drag that out for months. Then all of a sudden, Velvet has enough, and then she beats her.
Yeah, you could do that. You can still do that.
That's
yeah,
a bit like, and that's the thing, is there's a lot of different ways you can go about it, and no way is better than necessarily than any other way, and that's what a lot of these fans got to realize. WWE is not for me. It's not. It bores me. But that's because but it's not a boring product. I watched WrestleMania this year. That was one of the most entertaining nights I've had all year.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. Backlash was good too.
I missed Backlash.
I missed it too.
It was very good. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was very good.
I might have to go back and check it out then.
It's very good.
Now, there were matches on WrestleMania where I'm like, I know exactly what this match is going to be, and I pretty much snoozed through it. But then you get matches like the Pat McAfee match was huge. Stone Cold did so much more than I thought he would ever do.
Oh, man.
I was 8 years old again in the living room. Like, it was awesome.
I do. Hold on. Before you go, I was like, I had that same feeling. I was watching it in Discord with my buddies, and like I had to mute. So like me and 10-year-old me can watch this shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, no, I didn't need to talk to nobody else. I needed to sit in this room by myself and enjoy this moment, bro. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And he going against like one of my favorites now, and Kevin Owens. Yeah. Yeah, that was dope.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I was saying, WWE ain't for me on a weekly basis. It's just they go after that repetitiveness. They go after the beats they already know. I've seen this story before. I'm good. So I more gravitate towards AEW. But like I said, there are sometimes I'm watching AEW and I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? You got the FTR match, which is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I loved it. And then right after that, you got this Danhausen Hook thing where Danhausen is one of the most entertaining things. Like, this is a gimmick I can watch. And then you got bland-ass Hook, who's just... Oh, yeah. I'm one of those guys. I think Hook has a good hold on his dad's coattails, and that's good for him. Good for that kid. But yeah, so I mean, they hit the mark, they missed the mark, and wrestling fans got to stop, because I've gone back and there's like a 3-year hiatus where I wasn't watching wrestling at all, and I went back and I started watching the Attitude Era again. I started at the submission match, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and I just went from there. Weekly, every week, every pay-per-view, just check it out. Because I grew up in a household where wrestling's the devil. You can't watch the wrestling. So I was like, let me go back and like really enjoy this experience. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, this is just as good as today's stuff. It's like some segments are amazing and memorable and I'll remember them forever. And then some segments are, what the hell are you doing? Why did you give birth to a hand? Why is this happening?
Wait, so you don't like Hook, huh?
Oh, we're going back to that. Okay. I
thought No, you're not gonna go over that. No, you're not gonna gloss over this piece of cake like that. No, you're not about to go grab the Mountain Dew after you just slide it over this cake. Nah, sir, no. So where did
Hook is not a terrible wrestler, but he's overrated as all hell. His promo skills are next to nil. His in-ring character, I don't get it, and that might be part of it. But it's like you're supposed to be what, this superhuman badass who can lift guys 3 times your size because and then you could take a Rikishi driver and just stand right up. Okay, that makes sense.
I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either. I talked about that, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm sitting here like I don't get him. I feel like he's getting pushed because he's Taz's son, and I love Taz to death. Don't get me wrong, Taz is one of my favorites all time. But I think there's potential there. I like his look.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, that he uses the Taz mission again. I like that. Like there's stuff I like about him. I just don't buy it.
Right.
He sticks out to me. I will say this. Look, he had to grow on me, and it wasn't like I didn't like him or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think the crowd loves him.
Mm-hmm.
He has gear.
Yeah.
People are behind him. I actually don't care for Danhausen that much. I don't think it's a good idea for them to work together because now this guy who we're supposed to take serious, he's walking around with a guy with a funny voice that's feeding him chips.
Wait. I gotta stop you there. Hold on. Booker T. Goldust, Kane Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
The goofy guy with the serious guy. It works.
It works. Yeah,
and I'm not saying it don't.
The straight man and the funny guy. Yeah, the straight man, the comic relief. Yeah,
the rocking man. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It works. I'm giving it a chance. I am giving it a chance. But I do like Hook. The only takeaway from Hook, I don't like his hair. I
love his hair.
I don't. I watched one. It was on Rampage, and he went on the step and he looked at the camera, and his hair was crazy, and it looked like he was laughing because he knew he looked crazy with the hairstyle. But go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, my phone's getting ready to die, so I just want to circle this around real quick before I get off here, and I'll listen to the rest of this when I can.
Okay.
But I want to ask you one question about the hair.
Okay.
And this is going to circle back to something we talked about earlier. Who else does it? Who else has that hair? Who else looks like that coming out?
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. His Super Saiyan 2 hair has it. He has it.
So unfortunately, I've got to jump off. It's been great talking to you guys. Hopefully
Appreciate
I can
you, bro.
jump on again. But y'all have a good night, all right?
Yeah, all right too, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I hate to be a copycat, but I got to bounce out too. I had to get some work done for my stream tonight.
Okay,
but I couldn't miss a chance to hop up here and chat with you, bro.
All right, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate everything. Keep spreading your positive message, bro, because it's all positive. It's all good, brother.
Man, thank you, man. You keep doing the same, man. C3 Ultimate Wrestling, man. Check it out.
Yes, sir. All right, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right. If anybody else wants to get on, I have the link. The link is at the bottom. If you guys do not see the link, I will resend it. We was about to talk about Hook. Now, I like Hook. Hook has grown on me. I'm just not one of those guys to be like, okay, I just like him because he's different, but he is different. And I'm not going to lie. I did not like him selling the Rikishi driver from the guy from Bad Country, Barrett County, I believe that's the name. But he has grown on me or whatever like that. But it wasn't like, they're just pushing him because he's Taz's son. I won't say that because Taz has a whole faction or whatever like that. And, and they're slowly making waves themselves. I love Powerhouse Hobbs, Willie Hobbs. I love Ricky Starks, so they are making a stride and they finally are doing something besides just bringing people in and making them look good with their matches, because that's what it was with a lot of the guys, especially the black guys would come in and then they beat like Willie or something like that. But now I do like that they had them more victorious going against Keith Lee and Swerve when they came in and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what else they're going to do, because the sky's the limit with that. But Hook, I do think that they do a great job. They don't have him just like Jade working every week. Now they're having him wrestle more often. But I do think that you expose the positives and you hide the negatives and stuff like that. So just like Jade, I do think He's still getting it together and he's still improving every week, and it's working for him at the end of the day. He doesn't need at this time to wrestle every week. I think that's with a lot of things with wrestling. I think especially with AEW, a lot of people get upset with AEW because they say that they book a lot of people. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, WWE has a lot of people too, and they're not booking everybody every week and stuff like that. And with WWE, some people you miss and some people you don't. With AEW, a lot of these guys have social media platforms and stuff like that, and people want to see them every week. You want to see Keith Lee, Swerve, who else? Andrade, Hardy's. You want to see these guys wrestle every week. And honestly, the stuff that they have, it's just not enough. They don't have enough shows. They don't have enough time in the day to have a lot of people wrestle. You know, they got Dark Elevation, Dynamite, and Rampage. And they may be doing something with ROH, but at the end of the day, I don't think they really have a lot of time to book everybody. And people have to understand that the more AEW grows as a company, it's going to possibly be more difficult to see some of the favorite wrestlers. That's just like WWE. Regardless of how you feel about what they do with storylines, misusing people, de-pushing people, or punishing people, you don't see everybody every week and stuff like that. And WWE has more shows than AEW. You have, I don't know if they still do Superstars and Main Event, but you still have people that do those shows and they wrestle, and some people don't know. The last thing I've heard about WWE Main Event was when I believe it was Mustafa Ali versus Ricochet. I believe that it was on Main Event, and people were promoting that and saying, hey, you guys should look at that because this should be on Raw, this should be on SmackDown and stuff like that. So I don't know. That was like the last time I heard it. And then with NXT Level Up, which was previously 205 Live, and you know, they switch stuff around, and then you see that these shows that are now NXT 2.0, NXT, Nickelodeon NXT, what I call it, you see that they are catering more to trying to push and get behind younger audiences and stuff like that. So that's what 2-3 shows to where main guys aren't even on there. We just saw Natalya go to NXT to wrestle Cora Jade and stuff like that. And I do think that is going to be the new wave when it comes to those new shows, which they should have done, in my opinion. In my opinion, they should have put a lot of the guys from WWE, the main roster shows, if you will, they should have came back and they should have challenged the NXT guys or whatever like that, or gave them a good rub and all of that. Give me a second. Get this clear real quick. Just want to make it a little bit more clear until I have somebody else come on the panel. Oh, there we go. But it's always something. Hold on. But yeah. All right, there we go. But yeah, if you guys want to still come on the chat, just click the link. I'm gonna resend the link through Facebook and all the other multicasts. I don't know why my Facebook isn't working with certain comments. What's on your mind with wrestling? What is on your mind? I got a little time today before I go back upstairs. What is on your mind? If you want to come to the panel, you're more than welcome to. We can talk about a few things. If we disagree with something, that's cool. That's all right. You know, you're still family to me. And I think that is an issue with the wrestling world sometimes, is that I think Matt touched on it. I think Matt says that like some people get mad when you don't like or when you like a certain company. And it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth fighting and arguing for, especially for companies that probably don't even know we exist. I hate to say it like that because everybody's important. Remember, I love you, God loves you, Christ loves you. But at the same time, you know, to go to war with somebody because they don't watch this company or they don't watch either one, or they stick to independence, or they rather not look at it because of the current product, that's okay. You know, Matt disagreed with some of the stuff I said. I disagree with some of the stuff he said. It's still my bro at the end of the day. I don't know why people got this mindset to where everybody is the know-all, end-all to certain things with wrestling. There's some things that we can discuss that should be facts, that should be sacred and everything like that. But other than that, I don't think like everybody has a bad point. Sometimes you can see the good and the bad out of somebody's point. Oh, well, I don't like this person because of A, B, C, D. Well, they're doing this because of D, E, E, F, G. You get what I'm saying? So it all works together. Open panel. What are we talking about today? See, Red, I got you, brother. I'm gonna do that at a later time for the card for Kingdom Come. I'm already setting things up, but I am gonna promote it one more time as my baby crying because she wants to come downstairs. Like I said, man, C3 Ultimate Wrestling, Kingdom Come, guys. This is, like I said, we are back. We are back. If you guys don't know, you can check out the website. I've updated the website. C3ultimatewrestling.com. Tickets are only $10 for adults and only $5 for kids. Great family-friendly entertainment from start to finish. Like I said, we got Aaron Stone and Jackson P. Larkin. I'm telling you, all of these matches are match of the year candidates. You get what I'm saying? Like, these guys put on, regardless if they like or don't like each other, like especially these two young bulls in the game. You get what I'm saying? We got legit versus a mystery team. Legit leaders entering greatness in time. Legit tag team champions. I don't like how they won the belts, but they are the champs and they've put on every time. And Kev, you back on. But we have me, Classic Alpha versus Cassidy Keith, one-on-one action. Man, it's gonna be a good one. That's all I'm gonna say, man. I got some stuff. I gotta give 110%. Gonna be a great one. Marcelo Spade versus Mike Valentine. Great. Going to be a great show. I'm telling you, these guys, it's gonna be very good. Fresh matchup. I don't think they've ever faced each other. Like I said, I try to pride myself in having matches that people have never seen before or never heard before, but glad to see that it actually came true. Triple threat. KO Kendra versus Renee Van Peebles versus Vega Venom. Now, these three women, they were central parts of the Guys versus Gals show. Two were victorious. One was not, unfortunate because of cheating and things like that. Like, she was so close. You want KO Kendra, and it leads to the main event because of her husband, Just Amazing, demanded a title match against Miles Mercer because of the dastardly deeds he did. And we get to see that. We get to see this main event. Now, these guys have wrestled each other before, but this is different because this is the belt. This is the end-all, be-all belt. This is the C3 Ultimate Wrestling belt. This is the dinner plate. That's what I call the championship. This is the dinner plate. This is the plate. This is the belt that opens doors. This is the key, not just the plate. It's the plate and the key that opens doors and stuff like that. People look at that belt and say, dang, that's a big belt because it's a big champ. And I'm not taking nothing away from Miles because I don't like how he did things and how he acted. But at the same time, he is the champion and he is the king right now. What's going on, Trey? It's been a long time. You got some questions or something you want to talk about this wrestling thing, man? I hope everything's good with you and the family, brother. God bless. Then you have Just Amazing, a guy who's been on an undefeated streak that has been in C3 wrestling since the beginning, and he's been undefeated. We've brought in guys, and guys have asked to go against him, and he's beating them all. And he's even me. I'll say that he got me one time. I'm gonna get you back though, but he has been unstoppable. So this match is very prestigious. This match will be very, very good, and it is hosted by the CEO of Yellow Pill Coffee Company, Kevin Young Sr. Look out for him and his channel, as he will soon be interviewing some of the wrestlers going into it. So if you guys want to get some more information on some of the wrestlers, where they came from, their upbringing and everything like that, don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Here's his logo again. Got to remove this. Yellow Pill Coffee Company. This is him. I'll have it downloaded on my thing. But if you see this logo on YouTube, subscribe. You see it on Facebook, listen to what this man has to say. He just said that he has to get ready for his thing that he's going to do in a couple hours. So shout out to him and what he does. As I'm going back, also, the new graphic. Okay, so with social media, right? A lot of things are asking for subscription services, and I ain't trying to do all those. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I want to figure out what I want to do, what I get more traffic out of. So the Take It Home podcast, make sure if you have not, make sure you subscribe to it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the C3 Ultimate Wrestling YouTube page as well, where we're gaining a lot of subs and everything like that. And I thank you guys, and I give you guys credit, and I give glory to God. On Facebook, it is Chris Classic Williams, of course. Don't judge my Twitter handle. It is NatureBoy1989. Hey, man, I didn't want to make another Twitter page, so make sure you follow that. For tickets for Kingdom Come, it is PayPal, www.paypal.me/IamClassic. Once again, 10 for adults, 5 for kids. Make sure you guys get your tickets. They will be at the door, so you can also make them at the door. They're still the same price. The price isn't different at the door. So I know companies do that. I don't do that. It's still going to be 5 for kids, 10 for adults. So get your tickets, man. Get your tickets. Let me see. Move this. All right, I got a comment. Oh, Articulator. What's going on, Steve? He says, what do you think about CM Punk's disrespect to podcasters like Bischoff, Cornette, and Russo? Now, I've heard, and I thought about reading more into this because I didn't want to mislead. I didn't just want to get on here and talk about it. So I'm going to pull up an article and we're going to read it together because I want to read it, and I also want to see what it is because I know that it was some issues with Eric Bischoff, and I also know that CM Punk is very critical on people, period, especially on Twitter, even when he ain't like wrestling at one point. Y'all remember that time? We made videos about that as well. So I'm on this website right now. I'm going to take us there now. Let me cut my camera on. Let me see. Cut my camera on. Okay. All right. So let me see. Share screen. Some kids in the background having a lot of fun. All right. Here we are. All right. WrestleInc.com. It says Eric Bischoff mocks CM Punk's failed MMA career. WWE Hall of Fame Eric Bischoff has been relentless in his attempts to ridicule AEW star CM Punk. Following a brief feud on Tuesday, Bischoff mocked Punk for his failed MMA career with the UFC, while responding to a screen grab of Punk's post-fight photo from 2016. Eazy-E tweeted he convinced himself since he could win scripted fights, he could win a real one. Yikes. Yikes. All on media scrum last year. Punk stated himself. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Bischoff has brought up Punk's comments from post All Out Media Scrum last October, where Punk stated that himself, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole joining AEW was bigger than Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and the Outsiders leaving WWE for WCW in the mid-90s. So I'm not Hogan or Savage, Punk said October. Daniel, Bryan, and Adam Cole, they're not Outsiders. I see the parallels, but this is totally different. I'll go ahead and say it, and people can quote me, and they'll be peed off about it. But to me, this is bigger. So we know that earlier Punk asked Wrestling Twitter to stop amplifying all the old head, bad faith, take corny dip stuffs. Punk then asked fans to let the old heads die in the dark with their ego podcast. The CM Punk Eric Bischoff feud began. Later, recent comments on AEW not catering to casual fans. Bischoff claimed that Punk never spent time in the television industry, and which was a response to Punk saying that those casual fans exist anymore. Okay, all right, okay, I got the first part. All right, well, let's talk about this real quick, right? All right. This is what I'm saying, right? CM Punk is very opinionated on social media and stuff like that, even when he left wrestling and even when he came back. So it's like I'm not surprised, obviously, that he butt heads. He's been butting heads since he's been on the platform with anything about rights or wrestling or MMA and stuff like that. So, for Eric, who was a television person and everything like that, and he was somewhat successful because the business tanked in WCW. Obviously he took offense to what he said about him, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Cole. Basically, them going to AEW was bigger than the jump ship of WCW. Now, do I personally believe that? No, I don't think many of us believe that. I think some believe it because it happened in this era. Now, he may say, okay, of this era so far, but then again, if Roman or John Undertaker want to go over to AEW, that trumps what they did for AEW, even though they are very talented wrestlers. And I'm not taking away anything from Bryan, Cole, or Punk. So Punk saying that, and people have to realize that you also want to promote the company that you're in, regardless if people are going to be upset or not. Sometimes people, the truth happens regardless if it's good or evil, right? So with Punk or whatever like that, he may feel in his heart that their debuts were bigger. CM Punk had a big debut because it wasn't just his return. He wasn't just him debuting in AEW. It was his official return to wrestling. So with Twitter and Punk being very observant, Eric Bischoff is also observant too. And one thing that I did like about Eric Bischoff was that he did bring up receipts about ratings. Now, a lot of people like to say, oh, ratings are a new demographic that people are using. Don't nobody care about ratings. Why is this coming up? That's a lie, because when WWE was the only one company that people were looking at or not looking at, people talked about when they had record low ratings. So this isn't a new argument. You cannot sit there and say, oh, ratings just matter now because AEW came. No, when they were doing the Anonymous GM, I believe they had record low ratings and people were upset and people were talking about it, saying they needed another company. And then even people were getting behind Impact, or some people got behind ROH more often and stuff. So no, ratings is not something new, and ratings isn't something that's going to go away, because ratings is important for wrestling overall, especially if you have a TV company. So we all see that Rampage and Dynamite, sometimes they struggle. WWE has been struggling too. It could be the playoffs. It could be a whole bunch of other things, but those kind of things happen. But at the same time, them going tit for tat is very entertaining or whatever like that. It is very entertaining, like I said, with Eric Bischoff saying what he said, because him being a television guy and all of that stuff, I kind of understand what he was saying. Sometimes you will take offense to what somebody did, what you did years ago, and then somebody saying, well, we did this different. And I think our irony in this is that CM Punk was calling him an old head, and Punk is like, what, over 40 now? So he's low-key kind of like the old head himself. He's like the second generation of the old head. Nothing against Punk. Whatever Punk does, he gives his 100% in AEW and all his matches and stuff like that. So that's something I would never take away from the man. But I think this is interesting, and this brings up a topic that I wanted to talk about. I think that a lot of people need to realize that just because somebody was successful in the wrestling business or has a wrestling mind, it doesn't mean that they have the full business aspect of it. And I don't think that a lot of people understand that. So I want to break that down a little bit. This may be my last topic I talk about before I head on out. Think about it, right? So Eric Bischoff, he was in charge of a company that did beat WWE in ratings, or WWF at the time, in ratings, with what they had and the stars and stuff like that. And then, they kind of pissed it away. I really say that WCW lost it because they got bad, not because WWE got good. And WWE product was very solid at the same time too. But I think that WCW had to leave, but they were doing bad decisions and putting belts on people and spoiling stuff. They messed themselves up and they dug themselves their own grave. So I wouldn't put Eric as a part of a forefront of a wrestling company or owning it or whatever like that. I mean, we seen what happened when he did when him and Hogan was running TNA with when Dixie was a figurehead, and we seen the storylines, and we've seen their friends get booked. No diss to the Nasty Boys and stuff like that, but we definitely didn't need to see them going against Team 3D and Impact. No shade. You know, we seen them hook up his friends, Hogan's friends, Eric's friends, and stuff like that. The band, you know, Nash and Hall and Pac, they were already going in and out of Impact before this, but at the same time, you saw what happened with that. They changed what made Impact unique in America was a 6-sided ring, and then they changed it, and then they got booed as soon as they saw the ring. As soon as the fans saw the ring, they booed them, and then Hogan tried to say, "Oh well, we're doing 4 sides," and people booed them because that's what made them different. You get what I'm saying? That's what made Impact different, not just the ring, but also the push of young stars and stuff like that. But yeah, you can have a wrestling mind, but not the mind enough to run a business. Everybody praises Paul Heyman, right? I think Paul Heyman can help a lot of people with character work and stuff like that. I think that if they listen to him, he can help them. Now, that doesn't mean that he has to manage everybody for that. You know, I'm sure maybe if they go to the back and people ask him, he'll help. But at the same time, I don't think he needs to manage being a Paul Heyman guy. I mean, that makes people like him more or whatever like that. But I mean, look at what happened with Cesaro. You know, another thing with Paul Heyman had a show, ECW, that people still remember and they still cheer, especially when he in Philly. Shout out to people in Philly. And look at what happened with that. You know, you got wrestlers that still want to punch him to this day because he owed them so much money because he lied on like their names and fraudulent activity. He had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So it's like a lot of people be like, oh, well, if Paul was running WWE or if Eric was running WWE, because there was a time people were saying that, or if Eric run Impact, which he did and went to the ground, they do this. And I'm like, some of these people had chances to run companies before. And I'm like, you sure you want to say that statement? Because he has a good mind for the wrestling business. That doesn't mean that you have a great wrestling business mindset. You can have a great mind for wrestling, but you can have a bad mind for wrestling business. So yeah, I wouldn't have Paul Heyman run and book and do everything for my show, because it's not just, oh, just do this and do that. You have to do other things. So if you have a man who owes people money, who admits that, why would you want that to happen? Should he be a consultant? Sure. But I wouldn't go as far as to saying, oh, well, he has to be booked. You need to have him run a show. He had an opportunity. Eric had an opportunity. A lot of these wrestlers are coming out of nowhere with their own companies, and that's cool. And they're having opportunities. And most of the time they're realizing that it's not what it cracked up to be, because your name on it, and if you quote unquote own it, which I don't think, a lot of these wrestlers don't own these companies. A lot of them are figureheads. And now the figureheads decide to talk, and sometimes they need to stay in the back. The figureheads are the ones that have the money. The wrestlers were supposed to put the butts into the seats or whatever like that. But we'll see where it goes from there. I'll take. All right. But yeah, like with Punk, it's funny to say that he's dissing these guys because, you know, they diss him back and they talk bad about him. But, you know, Punk did a podcast with his friend, ex-friend. I don't know if they're cool now. They did something, and then look at what happened with that when WWE was involved and stuff like that. And I feel like Punk will possibly do a podcast if he doesn't have one already. He'll do one in the future. You know, I think a lot of these older wrestlers, they're doing them now. You know, Undertaker has one. I don't know if it's out or not, but he has one as well. So I think that's like the way for wrestling, because it's so exposed and nobody does kayfabe anymore. So we'll see where it goes with that. You get what I'm saying? But I do feel like, you know, I don't have nothing against podcasters and wrestling podcasters and stuff. I personally don't listen to a lot of people, because I do feel like some people just want to talk, and some people don't know what they're talking about, and some people say they don't like toxic stuff, but then wind up being toxic towards something that they don't like, or being very disrespectful. Sometimes people don't apologize when they say the wrong thing. Like, for example, I had a theme song in my head and I thought it belonged to a wrestler, but it belonged to somebody else. And I paid for that. I apologize and stuff like that. Now people are like, well, I don't care. And it's just like, you know, don't disrespect the business like that. Accidents happen. So I'm gonna be on here for a few more minutes because I feel like I need to do some yard work, because I don't feel like doing it tomorrow. But Open panel. Does anybody want to get on the panel? Does anybody have any questions about anything? Thank you for the guys who have been commenting. Thank you for Kevin Matt so far, who's been doing open panel. I think I'm going to do this more often. I'm on first shifts now, so I get to do 5:30 podcast and broadcasting now because that's where I get a lot of the guys, and because a lot of you guys are coming off of work or going into work. So I appreciate you guys for even being around and hanging with me and stuff. So, is there anything else we want to talk about? Anything we want to address before I head on up out of here? Truly grateful for you guys that have been watching my content, who stop. Even if you don't watch the whole thing, you can always come back and look at it. I'm going to find another podcast audio channel, whatever like that, because I think Podbean is asking for an arm and a leg. Anything in wrestling, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about? What is on our mind? What do we want to talk about? You can either come to the panel, we can talk about it, we have a discussion about it, or we could just leave a question in the comments. I'm looking at all my platforms to see, because I do feel like it's the social stuff is a little bit wonky, a lot wonkier than what it used to be. I don't know. Like I said, I got to figure out what's going on with my Facebook. So let me see. Man, I hope you guys are doing good. I did want to do an open panel. I enjoyed the open panel. Like I said, I'm glad that Matt and Kev spoke. I'm glad they spent a little time with me today. I appreciate you guys for talking to me, because you guys didn't have to. Well, what's going on, Steve? Steve says, where have Little Jimmy been at? Little Jimmy is gone. Little Jimmy is going to Hollywood like Roman Reigns will be. And that's where he's been. That's where Little Jimmy has been. Little Jimmy has been in Hollywood like Roman Reigns. I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this for a little quick. Him saying he's going to leave and all of this stuff, this happens in wrestling. Like, this isn't new. I think him being open about it, and I guess him being recorded, even though they said they wasn't going to record, he knew they was going to record what he said or whatever like that. Let's be honest here. A lot of wrestlers want to be set and want to make a life for themselves as an actor. You want that Hollywood money. I mean, I remember back in the day, it was a big deal to see a wrestler on a small show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember what was The Rock, he was on a Star Trek when they was doing the episodic episodes or whatever, and he was on it. And USA kept playing that same clip because he gave that lady a rock bottom in that episode. So Hollywood is just a thing that a lot of people want to go. Like, you see Sasha Banks, she was in The Mandalorian, and he said, I'll give him 5 or 7 years. Hey, man, if that money is calling for him, like I said, he has a look that people like. You know, he kind of looks like Jason Momoa a little bit, you know. So he has a look that I'm sure that a lot of people will want to see in front of the screen, and then they'll be patient with him possibly if he can do a whole bunch of things. But wrestling and Hollywood go hand in hand. You know, it was a big deal when The Rock was the Scorpion King in the Mummy movie. Now, it was horrible that they put him with PlayStation 1 graphics at the time, but it was a big deal. And then when you seen The Rock, he having his own movies, Walking Tall and stuff like that, and the Tooth Fairy movie and everything, and Be Cool. Hey, Be Cool was a very funny movie. I will say that Be Cool was hilarious. That was a good movie. I will say that. The Rock did his thing in that movie, especially with the character that he had to portray. But then like Stone Cold and Undertaker being small things in TV shows, and not even just on that side. When you had like WCW, you had Ric Flair, you had Vader, you had Hogan, you had Macho Man. They all showed up on that episode of Baywatch, and they had clips of a match and stuff like that. And I believe, was it Vader or Macho Man? Somebody got hit with a jet ski while they was in the water, and people had to go save him. I remember that episode. He said he can do it. He has a few roles. So yeah, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people use The Rock as the standard, as the burden bearer of hey, you quit wrestling and you left and blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, as a man and as a provider, and, people want to do other things. And funny thing is, Cena's a dang near a big star now. He's not as big as The Rock right now, but look at that. Batista, look at him with Marvel. If you got a spot in Marvel, you are set, yo. Unless you mess it up. They just wrapped up Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But yeah, a lot of these guys, they sit here, you get that money or people like you or whatever, and you acting like, what was he like? The Rock was like the highest paid actor in 1 year or back-to-back years or something like that. That's what a lot of people want to do. And they said that he has Roman has a limited schedule now, is what I'm hearing. That's cool. I mean, what else do you guys want to prove? And I know that the debate is he needs to defend the belt every whatever like that, because everybody got on Brock Lesnar. But to me, I thought that was a big business move because he was a fighter and you don't want to expose him. And then even though they slowly was bringing Brock in and defending the title, you got to realize that that's all he was a suplex, a Kimura lock, in the F5. But that's all he needed because he was already legit. Steve says, yeah, they all show range after a while. Yeah, so it takes a while for them to get to it. But as far as Roman taking a break, he's beating everybody. It won't be long till people, well, I don't know. I was going to say people get tired of him, but no, this man is doing what he's supposed to do. Showing some working, right? So when I watched WrestleMania Backlash, people cheered for him. And he's a heel, right? But people like him because they're behind him and they like Roman. So they tagged him in because it was early. He circled the ring. Crowd went crazy because it's Roman. Oh my God, it's Roman. They thought he was about to fight. He owned the crowd. He owned the ring. And that's something I want wrestlers to study too. Allow a lot of wrestlers study certain things, but study that moment on how he controlled everything. Circled with Drew, tagged out, and people booed him. And then when he finally did decide to come in and beat up Matt Riddle, they loved it or they hated it. That's what you're supposed to do. But my thing is, he is the top guy, and not just WWE, but even in wrestling, because he can bring more fans to watch wrestling. Steve says folks hated Cena in the wrestling run for a bit, but his movie roles gave him range where it was likable. But Roman, Sasha, I could see them doing movies later on. Yeah, there was even talks of Bianca Belair. Sorry about that. There was a Bianca Belair saying that she might do things with movies and stuff like that. Like, people already describe WWE as a TV show with wrestling over an actual wrestling show. So some of these people do act, and people act like they care about wrestling, and it works. It works. So if they want to do that, then by all means, go ahead. Titles and stuff like people were feeling like maybe WWE a struggle if Roman leaves or doesn't come back for a little bit. And I'm like, I think they'll be okay. With The Rock and with Stone Cold and stuff like that, when they did leave and people started to realize what wrestling was, and people started using lingo, and then things like DVR or social media or people downloading the shows and giving it away for free. A lot of that stuff did contribute to ratings dropping real down or whatever like that. But nowadays it's just like, you feel like if wrestling struggles at WWE, it'll be hard for anybody else to try to get what he do. WWE will adapt like always. And that's what I feel. I feel like if Roman leaves now, they can push Braun Breaker up, or they can push other people up and stuff like that. They'll do it, and it will depend on if the fans want to go behind it. But they'll find a champion or somebody that they'll actually like. I don't think that it'll really, I don't want to say hurt. I do not want to say hurt because, like I said, Roman is doing numbers. He is a needle mover and stuff like that, and people want to see him. They want to see him either lose or they want to see him be dominant. So they have done a great job with that. This is coming from a wrestler who not too long ago people was booing because he had his RR vest on and didn't have a gold gauntlet on and stuff like that. People was behind him. People are behind him and stuff like that. Like, look at the Chance, look at the manager, look at the group, the Bloodline, and how he says he's defending his family and stuff like that, doing this for his family. Man, if they don't do this, The Rock versus Roman Reigns at this WrestleMania in LA, like, come on, man. They going to LA. So that's what they should do. It would only hurt if he like leaves today, then they'll just find someone else. Yeah, and that's the thing. You shoehorn somebody into that position, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. Finn Balor was the first Universal Champion, and then he had to vacate it the next night because his shoulder was I think it was a shoulder or something in his arm or whatever like that. He had a serious injury, he had to vacate it. So they wound up giving it to Kevin Owens, and people thought that Seth was going to win, but then Triple H turned on Seth, and then Kevin Owens won it or whatever. So that had promised. They had promised to make Kevin Owens a legit Universal Champion, but they didn't. They paired him with Jericho, and Jericho obviously was the bigger, I hate saying it like this, but he was the bigger attention, with the list of Jericho and the highlight reel and stuff like that. It made the Universal Champion secondary, and this is supposed to be a main title. It was secondary according to Jericho. And then after Jericho interfered in his match with Goldberg, and Goldberg basically beat him in a few seconds, they feuded. Jericho and Owens feuded, and where Jericho was victorious at the end. Rock and Stone Cold left, and it just opened doors for cats like Eddie, Cena, Batista, Bradshaw, you name. And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be another opportunity for people. People say that WWE doesn't push new people or doesn't give them a chance and stuff like that. But like I said, they're very important now, but they can put somebody in that position. And then, like you said, if it wasn't Eddie, maybe it'd have been Cena or Batista or Bradshaw. And these guys, I feel all four of those guys did what they were supposed to do as champions. They all did a great job as a championship run. So with WWE and their talent and stuff like that, I do feel like they're going to have more people. They're going to have somebody that could take those reins. See what I did there? And they can do something with that. So Hollywood just boosts everyone. Yeah, because a lot of people want to be an actor, though. A lot of people want to go to Hollywood and be acting and stuff and get a lot of paid and stuff like that. A lot of people want to be in a DC movie or a Marvel movie and be set for life. A lot of people want that kind of things and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking it, Sometimes people come in to the business and they want to be a wrestler, but then they also see the acting because there's acting involved in wrestling. So it's like, man, I do a great job. And all it takes is one person saying, hey, man, you'll do good in Hollywood. And then you might get an acting coach and stuff like that. Remember that episode of SpongeBob when he was a part of the I can't believe this. I'm saying this, but he was a part of a commercial for the Krusty Krab. And it was only like a piece of his hat that you seen in a commercial, but he was like so happy. And then when he went to the bathroom, he heard like two people talking about a TV show saying if this dude actually went to act, then he'd be taken serious. For some reason, he thought that they was talking about him. And he would perform. You remember the striped sweater? Remember the striped sweater? But anyway, going back into the wrestling, Steve says it only hurt them with people like Natalie and Eva Marie. Well, with Eva Marie, a lot of people didn't like Eva Marie before. Now, Eva Marie came at a wrong time for her career because this was the Divas revolution for WWE at the time. Because with NXT, you had Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and then Becky was still finding herself at this time. And Paige, you had Emma. You had women that was doing solid wrestling to the point that they were saying that NXT had better wrestling than WWE as a whole. So with Eva, obviously everybody sees Eva being attractive. They're kind of bitter in the butt because people got sick of her quick because she wasn't wrestling like the other divas where women were on the show. She was being a valet to the Bella Twins and stuff like that. Or when she do something, it'd be a comedy relief or she'd run around or whatever like that. And it didn't work out for her because people really wanted to see her wrestle over just looking good. Okay, good. You're very attractive. There's the Total Diva show. We see that. And that kind of put her in a bad light too. But at the same time, they wanted to see her wrestle. That was the time to wrestle. It wasn't on no, oh, you look good. You got to do something. I mean, even Mandy Rose has improved. She's improved, being very attractive and stuff like that. I think she started to take it a bit more serious. You get what I'm saying? So that was the thing with Eva Marie. I don't know why I said Natalia, but you said Natalie. That's my fault. But that was with Eva Marie. You have to now. It's like you have to wrestle. But if you don't, or if you still need training, then you have to. They have to hide that negative. And I think, like, even going back to AEW, I don't know if you was here earlier, Steve. We talked about Jade Cargill. And we talked about, like, we see that she is improving, but she still needs work. But now they give her the baddie section, and now you have two other women that could wrestle on her behalf. She can just sit down and look pretty, or she don't have to show up or whatever like that. They can still have her practice her moves, her perfect her craft and stuff like that. They can have her do these kind of things, and it works out at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying? Because they're working with her. She looks good. She's a powerhouse and stuff like that. And I do think she does bring a lot of media attention on her Instagram. Like I said earlier, she says, hey, I'm in this city. We need some baddies for the baddie section. So I'm sure a lot of women come out there. They try to apply. They try to send pictures. They try to see her so they can be a part of the baddie section or whatever like that. Because it seems like it's something that they want to be. But yeah, that's how I feel on the situation with Roman leaving and having a limited schedule and stuff like that. Like I said, like it'd be different if he just won a title, just one title, and then said, oh, well, I'll sign a contract and I won't be here. Because now we'll be like, oh, well, what's the point of the title run? But now it's like they doing the undisputed thing or whatever, and he's been the Universal Champion for almost 2 years now. So, like, he doesn't need to prove himself anymore. That should be the way you go out if you are going to transition. If you are going to transition to something else, to Hollywood or whatever like that, that's how you transition. You put your all into what you do, and then you slowly move out. So if that's what he want to do, then that's cool because he's beating everybody. Now, whoever he drops it to, I hope that they can do what he did because those are some big shoes to fill. Not even saying him on his wrestling skills or anything like that. It's just what the company put him in and that strong position of that. Jade is a good character. I can't write her off. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't. So they're doing great by Jade. You know, like I said, she has been improving and stuff like that. And I think the sky's the limit is for her as far as that. But yeah, Roman is doing good. So if he wants to leave, they are preparing that very well. They're doing a great job with that. So shout out to them. All right, guys, this is almost 2 hours on here. Steve says, because she shows she is trying. I hope she stays in AEW for a bit because WWE already has a bunch of her type of characters. Yeah, I think that if she should, I think that's one thing AEW does do right. Not saying they do everything bad or anything like that, but they do a great job with Jade or whatever like that. But I do think that the more she improves, opportunities will come to her, like the WWE, because they're going to try to do something with that. And people are already trying to have a dream match already, which is good with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. So I do know that a lot of people are trying to they want to see that. But I do see that WWE could be knocking on her door if they haven't already. And I think she did do a tryout. Yeah, that's right. She said it was something about they kind of put a sour taste in her mouth because she has a daughter or whatever like that. And then she said the schedule, she said something about our family. And then like WWE said, we're your family. So that really messed up. That really messed her up with that. But maybe they would have released her. Who knows? You know, stuff happened for a reason. But she is good. And I do think WWE will probably straighten up and probably throw money at her or something if she continues to improve. But as I'm heading out, it's almost 2 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Like I said, I'm going to try to do more open panels on certain subjects and stuff like that. You know, shout out to Matt. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to C-Red. Shout out to Steve Kenton. Shout out to I think I said C-Red. Shout out to everybody that looked at the live. It's not showing up on my Facebook right now. Before I head out, make sure you guys, if you are free, May 28th. If you are not in the area or in the area, check me out at a Made to Remember. Now That's Wrestling. It's going to be a great show. And also June 18th, Kingdom Come. We return. We got some great matches you do not want to miss. And I'll tell you, the wrestling experience is better live than actually watching it, because you're there, you're in the atmosphere, you see the things, and you get interested, and you want to be a part of that. You want to be a part of these things and stuff like that. You want to be a part of history, literally. Steve said, because she shows she is trying. I hope she stays. Yeah. Oh yeah, I read that. So yeah. All right. Also my other socials: Facebook, Chris Classic Williams; Twitter, Nature Boy 1989. Don't judge me. If you want to buy your tickets early, www.paypal.me/IamClassic. You can buy tickets at the door. Ticket prices are still the same. They're still going to be the same at the door. So it is only $10 for adults and only $5 for kids. So as I'm leaving, I hope you guys have a blessed evening. I hope you guys ate good. Remember, if you want to talk to me about anything, depression, all that, message me. I love you. God loves you. Christ loves you. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for being with me on this evening for 2 hours. 2 hours. I didn't think I was going to be on here for that long. But once again, this is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.